Hey guys, it's Buzz Glover. Thanks for joining me here today for what I consider a special treat. I was lucky enough to have one of my students actually volunteer to have an interview with me, and I reached out to her specifically because she and I have been going back and forth, working on some of the deals have brought into her pipeline. And she's experienced quite a bit of success as well. So that was another great reason to hold this very quick, probably less than a half an hour video. But before I get into the interview, real quick background on myself. I'm the founder of BizLoanConsultants.com. I also am the author of Business Loan Brokering 101, which is available on Amazon. And I'm a 20-year veteran of brokering commercial business loans. Actually, got my start back in 2000 when I opened up an equipment finance company. And actually, that was the one thing in my entrepreneurial life that changed pretty much everything because I did very well at it. And ironically, it was the lowest cost business startup that I've ever started. And the interesting thing about that business, it also allowed me to experiment and open some other business, some that did well, others not so well. But if I wouldn't have started the brokerage, I would not have been able to delve into any of the other interests that I have and had in the past. So that's enough about me. If you're not familiar with BizLoanConsultants.com, it's basically a portal to teach people how to broker business loans. I always say that it is a simple business, but not easy. Simple because there's only three things that you really need to master. One is to learn how to find deals effectively. The second is to learn how to package them and ask the borrower for the correct information. And then the third is to figure out what banks to send your transactions off to. So that's kind of the three things you need to master as a business loan broker, and that's kind of what I teach you in both my book and on my website, BizLoanConsultants.com. Oh, and by the way, guys, the photograph that you see here on this slide is not the student that I will be interviewing. It is actually a photograph of my lovely wife of 20 years up at Niagara Falls on a recent trip. And I always struggle with what type of photographs to put in these types of presentations. And I had a choice between putting me in a stodgy old suit looking like a banker or choosing something a little bit more interesting like this. Okay, enough about me. My student, Sandra Pantoja, she actually goes by Sandy. She's a recent student of my Life Pivot Mastermind Business Loan Brokering course. She founded the company Lending Solutions of South Florida, and she actually started in February of this year. And actually, the reason that this whole interview came together, she sent me this email back in June of this year. Hi, Buzz. Hope you're doing well. I told you a while back that I would update you on how my business was going. I am finally seeing the closings. I resigned in early February, and we are now in late June. I will be closing the following by the end of the week. It's been a lot of hard work. And just so you know, I actually traded a few emails after this with her, and I think she has all of these documented. At the time of this email, some of this she was still waiting on getting paid on. So that's why she said I will be closing the following by the end of this week. But she's listed out some deals that she has closed, and I think she's closed in the last conversation I had with her, she closed 13, and I think she just talks about it in the interview as well. But this was the email she made. She had a $75,000 business loan that paid her 2.5 points, a $90,000 equipment lease for a bed spring manufacturer that paid her 2.5 points, a $179,000 concrete pump that paid her 3 points, a $32,000 concrete pump that paid her 2.5 points, a $60,000 concrete pump that paid her 2.5 points, and a $1.4 million hard money loan for an investor that paid her 1 point on the total deal size of $900,000. So obviously there was some equity in that deal. that they only borrowed $900,000 of the $1.4 million. And then one other smaller deal that paid 16 points on a $25,000 deal for a business loan. She closes this up with saying, I will be making a good amount of commissions that will then allow me to keep on prospecting. I am grateful for all that I have learned in your class. I love equipment finance. Any feedback, tips, words of wisdom are welcome from Sandy. So I appreciate Sandy reaching out to me. And like I said, she agreed to interview with me. Just a real quick synopsis, and probably some of this is overlap on what I've just talked about. She is a current student of the BizLoan Consultants Life Pivot Business Loan Brokering Mastermind class. She left her job working for a bank and officially started her business Lending Solutions of South Florida in February of 2018. She quickly built a pipeline of over 30 deals that she began working on after getting started in her business. She has since closed 13 deals in her new business, with others pending, totaling over $35,000 in commissions in less than 6 months. And she feels confident that it will be $100,000 plus business, while giving her a lifestyle away from the corporate jungle that she was used to in the corporate banking world. So, just as a side note, ex-bankers do well in this business. You don't have to be an ex-banker to do well in this business. It is more of a relationship type business and continues to be. And that's what I teach in my mastermind class. And Sandy kind of grabbed hold of what I said. She takes action. I always say taking imperfect action is the way to get good at this business. In the beginning, it'll be a little bit difficult, but you just keep taking imperfect action towards your goal, and you'll start building a pipeline, and you'll probably close. The percentage I always use is maybe 20 to 30% of all the business that you bring in as a broker, you will end up closing. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the interview that I had about a week ago now with Sandy Pantoja. I thank you for joining me here, and here you go, guys. Appreciate it. And okay, I think we're good. Okay. Okay, everybody. I'm glad to introduce to you Sandra Pantoja. We were just discussing the pronunciation of her last name before we got on. So she is a student of the Life Pivot Mastermind Business Loan Brokering course. I knew throughout the year that she was doing a lot of the right things, and that a lot of the business was starting to come her way, and that she was filling her pipeline. And then I think about a month ago, she reached out to me with an email to let me know some of the accomplishments she's had so far. And I asked her, and she was kind enough to offer up an interview for anyone who's possibly looking to get into the business, or for those students who are already in my Life Pivot mastermind class and might be having a difficult time getting started. So I appreciate it, Sandy, for you joining me here, and I will just go down through this list of questions that I talked to you about earlier, and we can do this very casually, and you can just tell me what your experience has been so far in the business. And starting out with the question, I think it's good to know what your background was prior to getting started in your business here, and letting people know you did have some previous banking experience, so I think that's good for them to know. So
I would call myself a 15-year commercial banker, but in reality, I started from the bottom in banking. So started in a branch, was always in the sales role. So I learned a lot about the lending products within my 15-year career. And like I said, just started from the bottom, learned small business, then learned about larger businesses. And then my last role was with the bank, and I was able to work with businesses with about 100 million in sales. So I say that just because it was nice to get different type of lending experience. And, definitely that has helped me with this role. And yeah, like I said, the 15 years that I worked at banks, I constantly learned about sales about lending. So that's my background.
Okay, perfect. Which, by the way, I've noticed over the past year that I've been doing this that I've had quite a few commercial bankers or previous lending experience enroll in the course because they were probably in the same position I was, 20 years ago when I was working for a large, actually equipment leasing company. And I was just getting tired of the day to day and wanted to go out and do it on my own and have more opportunities to get deals funded versus just taking it to the underwriting within my own bank. So it is, I'm not
Exactly.
going to say it's completely common, but let me ask you the next question. What motivated you to finally start your commercial finance business?
Well, exactly what you said. The day to day. I have no problem working with managers. I've never had an issue personality wise. I can mold and get along with most everybody. But it's what you said. It's a bit of a politics of the corporation. The biggest motivator I would say is definitely my daughter. Once I had my daughter, it was more like I wanted to be very involved in her life. And I don't know if it's my personality. I always seek freedom. I always feel that I can work all day, but just give me the freedom to work when I want, how I want, and I will get it done. So that's definitely my biggest motivators, my daughter and freedom.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I'm a very disciplined person. I don't feel like I need a manager to be told what to do. I really get frustrated with micromanagement. And that's how I feel that corporations have become, which is okay. There's some people that need that. I don't. So, so far, this business has gone so well for me. I'm so pleased and happy. I'm very proud of myself, actually, and my family is too. And I don't mind working all day. I have my laptop and my phone with me all day answering emails, but I do have the freedom to work how I want. And that's definitely the biggest motivator.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like you have a very similar situation. I mean, when I was in the corporate world, we had meetings to discuss when our next meeting was, and it used to drive me crazy. So, uh, but
Exactly.
okay. Now, one of the things I talk quite a bit on in the training is, trying to define some type of niche within your business. Have you done anything in that area? And is there certain types of business that you have more confidence in after doing this than others, or are you still kind of a generalist?
It's funny, that question would have been this answer months ago, which is commercial real estate is my forte. This is my strongest point. I could do it with my eyes closed. But the funny thing is, after taking your course and not doing so much equipment finance, so I learned a lot from you. That's my niche now. I'm in love with equipment finance. It's faster process. I feel like I get to help more clients. And I don't know, I just now drive by a bulldozer and I'm like, I want to finance that. So
No, perfect.
right now I would say my niche is equipment finance. And the industries I think I've been focused on is mostly healthcare and construction. I do want to focus on larger ticket sizes, so my future is very nice. I can't wait to get to other industries that I want to get into. But right now, I would say healthcare construction is my niche. And I do, out of all the transactions I've closed, I have closed some commercial real estate, and I have some in my pipeline right now. But they do take they're a longer process to close, as opposed to equipment, which to me is, faster, and commissions are still great. So I would say that's my niche right now.
Oh, cool. So that's interesting because I talk a lot about that, and I think I took the opposite approach because I had a background in equipment finance, and I was doing it for a few years, and then I kind of stumbled across some commercial real estate deals, and that's when I started to explore more on how to package a deal with commercial real estate. So yeah, in my career, it's a little bit the opposite. I started out in equipment finance and went into commercial real estate, and it seems like you had a comfort level probably from your previous banking experience in commercial real estate, and then moved into equipment finance because of the
Yeah.
shorter sales cycle. So, and it's cool that you're kind of finding a place for yourself, within even in equipment finance, where you're narrowing down your niche to, you said, mentioned medical equipment and
And
construction
construction,
equipment.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
How many deals do you think you found since you started?
Yeah. Well, that question's, I'm very organized, and I have an Excel sheet, and and also in my laptop, I have a folder with all the clients that I've been referred to. So I did count. I've so far found about 30 deals. And
Okay.
those deals have been found by, my prospecting, a lot of my banker friends that can't do anything in the bank, and they refer to me, and just my friends, word of mouth. So it's been so far 30 deals that I have found.
Okay. And what out of those deals, how many do you think you've closed? Or you probably know
Out
that.
of those deals, out of those deals so far, I'm on my about 13th deal closing. Some of the deals that I did receive in the beginning were, everybody was sending me kind of challenging deals, and some of them fell off, and some of them didn't like the offer I presented. But anyway, I'm in my 13th deal that I'm closing right now.
Oh, fantastic. So almost 1/3 of the deals that you've brought in so far, you've closed. Maybe a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And you don't have to get into this, to let everyone know what you've earned. But I mean, how would you explain the fees that you've earned so far? Have they been great?
Well, so far, yes, I'm very pleased. Like I said, my family is very proud of me. My husband has been so supportive, and he's helped me a lot in the beginning of the business. And then as things started moving along, he's like, okay, you've got this. So, he's very proud of my earnings. So equipment finance, like I said, they're faster deals. They usually give from $2,500 to maybe about like $6,000 commissions. That's been my experience so far. They can go much higher, as you know. So far with the 10 deals, I would say from about 35,000 in commissions. My projection is I'm thinking this year I could do about 60,000, and my goal, like I'm going to work as hard as I can to get about to 100,000 this first year. But I am shooting a little high, so let's see.
No, well, I don't think that you are shooting high. I think that somewhere along the way, and I remember having this discussion with you. I don't know if it was via email or whether we're talking on the phone. I think in the beginning you were going after some smaller ticket transactions, and I had mentioned.
Yes, I steered away from that. Definitely steered away from that. So thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, because what happens in this business is you kind of get what you go after, and if it's smaller deals, the commissions aren't as great, and they almost take as much work as the big deal. So why not go after the bigger deals? Although, in some respects, and I know I get into this in the course material, but if you're going after larger transactions, there's typically a little more competition involved. So, well, very good. Yeah, I appreciate you, explaining some of the fees that you've earned so far and where you've been in your business. What are some of the frustrations you've encountered since you started?
The main frustration, which is funny, I talk to my banker friends that want to get out of banking and want to find out if what I'm doing is worth it. It's really, the frustrations are still dealing with clients just like as in the bank. That doesn't go away. My goal is always to make all my clients happy. I work hard to get them the terms that they want, the monthly payment that they want. I've actually even taken a smaller commission just to make the client happy, because I know the recurring transactions. So like I said, it's just dealing with the client, because at the end of the transaction, when the money's almost going to hit the vendor, everybody wants the money today. So it's still dealing with clients, because you want to make them as happy as possible. You want them to keep bringing you work. So that part, as back in the bank, that doesn't change. It's still, because other than that, I mean, my lenders are wonderful. I understand the process really well. So that's not really frustrating, but it's still my client.
I got you. I got you. I think that we had talked a few weeks ago, and you had mentioned we were finding out, and this happens all the time, and I want to bring it up on this call, is that you would talk to a funding source, and they would say that they were a direct lender, and then you would get the documents in to go get signed, and here it's from you. You kind of knew at that point it was being co-brokered, and
Yes,
yeah,
yes. But you know
that's
that part wasn't too frustrating. It was nice that you explained it to me, and I'm kind of using them to learn as well, and then I'm gonna just eventually go on my own. But that was, yeah, you're right. That was nice to learn.
one of the bigger hurdles for new brokers in this business is getting accepted by lending sources, and they want to
Hmm.
see some type of track record. They want to see that you've been in the business for a while, and the biggest reason they do that is, well, first of all, they want to protect themselves against any fraud from people just starting up and going out of business every other day, and
Yeah,
doing bad transactions. But beyond that, they don't want to spend a bunch of time on bad deals, so they want to know that the broker who is sending them business has some experience. Now, Sandy here has a really good foundation now for when she goes out to lenders. Look, I've brought in X amount of dollars in opportunity. I've closed over one third of it, and here's what I've done. And when these lenders see the business she's already completed, then they're going to be much more prone to opening their arms. As a matter of fact, they would want her to come on because they're all trying to meet their goals as well as lenders to get to the
yeah.
volume levels that they want to be at. But so what would you recommend to a newbie just getting started in the business?
What I would recommend is to keep studying. So try to really learn the information that you have on the website. Take notes. Practice with other people. To feel comfortable when you're talking to clients and talking to lenders. Especially with lenders, you want to sound as confident as possible. You want to sound like you know what you're talking about. So studying your information would be great. And just every single day, you have to try to do an activity that will potentially get you a client. So what I like to do is I organize my week on Mondays is like my office day, and I organize my week for the rest of the week. And maybe Friday afternoons is another office day. And then that's when I start maybe organizing for the next week. So just like I learned at the bank, be very organized, plan, and every day try to have an activity that's going to try to get you a client. So it's either meeting a vendor, meeting with a commercial real estate agent, something that will potentially get you business, because all those little activities add up.
Exactly. I think, any off time that you have in this business, especially in the beginning, is, building your referral database or your referral sources to a level where, I mean, I always go back, and I know I talk a lot about this in my coaching calls and in the training material itself, is that in the beginning, it's a real hustle. And it's that way with any startup. Anyone who tells you that this business is just going to happen and unfold on its own, they would be misleading you. There's a hustle involved in the beginning. It's running out.
Yeah.
It's making things happen, and it looks to me like you've taken some of your previous experience and put it to work here, and making sure that the activities that you're doing on a weekly basis are pushing your business forward. One of the questions I'm looking here that I might have skipped over that I think is important. What do you think your total startup costs were involved in getting started in your business?
Well, that's what I love about this business, and I'm so glad and happy that I found you. Very little. I did my own website because you helped me and you taught me. I had a friend, give me an old laptop, which was working perfectly fine. So that saved me some money. The only thing that I did spend some money on is a gentleman that was, not too pricey, but it wasn't that cheap. I did go to a gentleman that did a nice logo. That I did. But other than that, my flyers, postcards that I've done, everything, I have used Fiverr, which you recommended. I didn't even know Fiverr before you. So I would say very little, maybe about 1,500, maybe 1,000. I mean, I don't feel that I have spent that much money on the startup. Definitely.
Fantastic. So you've earned fees upwards of, I don't know, $35,000 and spent less than 1,000 or 1,000 or maybe even $2,000 to get started.
Yeah, probably around that. Yeah, definitely worth it.
Yeah. Good. Fantastic. So how do you feel about your overall success will be in the future for your business?
So far, all I'm saying is I'm incredibly excited for the future. I'm finding my niches. I'm actually, I have a passion now for equipment finance. Like I said, commercial real estate I still love, but I really love equipment finance, and I can't wait for the future. I have like laser focus now. Every day I'm doing something new for the business. If it's meeting sales rep or a vendor, something like that. So I'm incredibly excited, and I'm very pleased, content, happy with the choice that I made. And just can't wait for the future. Can't wait for every month, every day for the business to get better and better.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not going to make this longer than it has to be. We've discussed all the questions. If there's anything else that you want to throw out there to a prospective student. Oh, one other thing maybe I should mention is that one of the things that I know you've been great at, and I appreciate it, is that you've reached out to other students and they've reached out to you, and you kind of formed some relationships, and it has probably worked for both of you. Maybe you can just talk a little bit about that. I know it wasn't on our list of questions here, but
yeah. No, but yeah, it is true. I'm very happy. I became pretty close to a student of yours, which she's awesome, and she touched base with me. One of your coaching calls, she kind of sent me a little message on the side because she realized that we were both in Florida, and I became very good friends with Carolina. She also has a business through your coaching classes, and I have a little bit more experience than her. So she's been awesome, and we constantly get ideas from each other. But she asks me, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And then she tells me when she finds a lender, and that's another recommendation I have. Try to get like a close community of professionals that are doing the same thing. They don't have to be in the same city as you, but try to find that people that you can rely on, talk to, find ideas, because I feel there's business for everybody. And when you have people that you can trust, like I trust Carolina very much, and we're always bouncing ideas off of each other, and you need that. So that's something else I would recommend. Find people that you can trust. Don't think everybody's competition. There's business for everybody, and having a close community where you can ask questions and learn a little bit more is very important.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know that you've kind of done that through the networking kind of old school. I have the Facebook page, and I know you mentioned that you're not real active on Facebook, and that's probably one of the reasons I don't see you on there a lot, but you might be missing a little bit. But yeah, that's good, though, that you're connecting with some of the other students and you're able to kind of support each other within the business. Now, just one last question. Is there anything that, or I mean, maybe you could just tell me a little bit about your experience with the class, and you won't hurt my feelings, anything that you've liked about it, anything you haven't liked, and then we'll probably just end this.
Yeah, well, I have no complaints about it. To me, I learned a lot about equipment finance that I knew about equipment finance, but not as technical as you taught it. No complaints. I felt that it was great the way that you would release the modules, week by week, which is perfect, because sometimes we think we know something, so we skip something. And I think it's important to go module by module. So, I mean, I still to this day go back to some of the modules, and I like I said, no complaints. I still go back. Sometimes I need to learn a little bit about a 10% buyout, so I'll go back, or Section 179. So. Can't tell you I have any complaints about it.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I'm going to end this, Sandy. I appreciate you joining me here today, and it's been awesome that you have went from really. I mean, I know you had previous experience in banking, but really went from zero, no business start to having a robust pipeline of business that's either ready to close or has already closed. And I appreciate you joining me here today, and I wish you much future success in your business. And as you know, through the discussions we've had almost on an ongoing basis here, that I'm here for you. I'll continue to support you in your business, and anything that you need from me, you can just reach out to me. Okay, that's fantastic. Well, once again,
right.
I wish you much future success. I'm going to end this call, and then just make sure you stay in touch with me and share your future success and/or any questions that you have. I'm here for you. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, and good luck to everybody.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Sandy.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.